Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl today to kick off the new era of Utah NHL hockey. I thought, why not rank the names that they have surveyed? The survey's been out for almost a week now. It's still open for maybe another week, I believe. So just going to give my thoughts on the nicknames. I've never talked about it, so this should be interesting. And the first time ever, I'm basically at the ground floor trying to decide a nickname for my next favorite hockey team. I think the ones I like aren't the most popular, but this should always be fun. Yes, not every single one is a grand slam home run. You got to have some, sort of duds, I will call them, among the good names so that the good names rise to the top in the voting. You could vote for four names when you submit the survey. So all of you could see the names here. We got Blast, Powder, Mammoth, Mountaineers, Black Diamonds, Swarm, Yeti, Caribou, Frost, Venom, Squall, Outlaws, Freeze, Hive, Fury, Utah HC, which stands for Hockey Club, Glaciers, Canyons, Blizzard, and Ice. So we'll start in order, like I said, the name. So the first one is Blast, Utah Blast, which to me just reminds me of the Baja Blast from Taco Bell, which I've never had in my life, but like pretty sure like every fast food YouTuber talks about the Baja Blast. I believe from Taco Bell. Is it from Taco Bell? Pretty sure. But yeah, you can't get away from the Baja Blast. I mean, I don't even like Baja Blast. Like I said, I never even had it, but my mind just associates Utah Blast with like a sports drink, maybe a Powerade or Gatorade type energy drink. So we're gonna put Blast at D. No offense to any of the wonderful people who came up with these nicknames. Next, the Utah Powder. Well, we're going to start with some duds here. The Utah Powder, a lot of like snow, ice, cold motifs in this survey. Powder, obviously representing snow powder. It doesn't really come off as dangerous and intimidating. I know Bill Armstrong and his staff wants an intimidating team, hard hitting, physical team that you're scared to play against. They tower over you. And yeah, Powder doesn't really translate to that sort of style Bill Armstrong is trying to build in Utah. So Powder will get a D. We'll go to Mammoth next. I'm going to change these rankings maybe as the video goes on. But for now, we're going to put Mammoth in A. The first nickname that I'm loving so far. It's almost an S tier. We'll see as this video goes on if it moves up. The Utah Mammoth. Like I just said, big, huge, intimidating, an instinct animal. I tend to like the animal nicknames a bit more, obviously coming from the Coyotes. And the Coyote, it's not necessarily a scary, intimidating animal. Obviously, when you see it, you don't want to get near it, but it's not going to attack you like a tiger or hyena. It's not on that level of dangerous. Yes, it is a dangerous hand. It's not friendly, first of all, but a mammoth, just powerful. A mammoth. Each step it takes, it shakes the ground. The massive tusks. Really love, and it sounds so good too. Utah Mammoth, like the mammoth are coming. It's a very unique nickname, I would say, but not as unique as this next one. The next nickname, I've been thinking about this nickname a lot the past couple days. There's some great concept arts out there. I'm going to show you guys very soon. But the Mountaineers, the Utah Mountaineers, it's going to go the first one. This is going to go in the S tier, the first nickname to be in the S tier. The Mountaineers, just look at this concept art. I think this concept art really solidified it here. This is posted on Reddit by user Island Twig. Just look at this. The colors, obviously, not a fan of. Obviously, these aren't going to be the colors, but I love this logo right here with the hockey stick eyes. I believe they zoom in on it here. Has a shape of the M. Just the Mountaineers. When I think of the Mountaineers, I think of that, climbing a mountain motif. That struggle, that sacrifice, climbing up a mountain, very, very vigorous. It's a visceral type of word, mountaineer, to climb the mountain, to reach the summit. And it's very hockey related in terms of the grind, the journey to the Stanley Cup, and the summit of lifting the cup over your head. You can translate that very well to it being climbing Mount Everest, climbing to the top of the mountain. So it's growing on me. The Utah Mountaineers, very, very unique. I'm pretty sure not used at all in any sports in North America. I could be wrong with that, but loving it. Very unique. Very, it would create a very good identity for a strong hockey team looking to do great things immediately. Next, we'll go to Black Diamonds. My only reference to Black Diamonds is skiing. Some hills are black diamond level to make it a difficult, skiing hill. It's for experts. It's not for beginner skiers. But yeah, to be honest, not really into that. It also reminds me of like poker, black diamonds. I wonder if the NHL would even allow it. But I'll put this one in the C tier. Next, we'll go to the Utah Swarm. Trying to go, I guess, for that. I know the state flag of Utah has like a beehive or something to do with bees. Not, haven't researched too much yet of Utah, but I know something about bees and beehives. So that's why you got Swarm here and the hive as well. So the Utah Swarm, not really digging Swarm as a nickname. Obviously, they swarm you. There's a type of defensive structure called swarming where it's like man-to-man sort of a defensive style. I get that Swarm is a bit intimidating because you got all these hockey players coming at you. It sort of works, but not really liking it as a nickname. Yeti, this was the first one where I was like, please just call them the Yeti. This has been my favorite one immediately once, the idea of fans picking their nicknames. It was all over the socials that, they should be called the Utah Yeti. And it stuck with me slowly over the weeks. Mountaineers and maybe another one has started to come more on top of mind for me than Yeti. But I love it. Utah Yeti. It rolls off the tongue really well. Sort of rhymes with Yotes. And my friends would always call the Coyotes the Yotes whenever they would talk to me, like, oh, how are the Yotes doing? So Yotes, Yeti, sort of the same there. I like that it's short, Utah, Yeti, about 3 syllables. Sounds really good, and obviously has a correlation with the Yeti Cup. The new famous cup that rivals the Stanley Cup. I'm talking about cups here. I'm talking about glasses, not the actual trophy. The rivalry between the Yeti and the Stanley Cup on the internet. You can maybe make a sort of correlation between the Utah Yeti going after the Stanley Cup. A little bit of a fun thing there. Caribou. Not sure where they were going with this one. I rather have different names for that sort of animal, like the Utah elk, the Utah stags. I heard people throwing around the Utah pronghorns, but that's a bit of a mouthful to say. Just caribou for me, it's not scary, it's not intimidating. They look intimidating when you Google caribou and it shows you a picture of a reindeer with just massive horns. Utah moose maybe would have been better, but caribou, it's not doing it for me. Then we go to Utah Frost, another one of those ice, snow type motif nicknames. I think I'm going to go with a B for this one. It's short, Utah Frost. It feels good to say Utah Frost. I like how my tongue moves when I say that. Yeah, it's short, rolls off the tongue well. Frost, frost, you can make great graphics of like frost covering a window or the sheet of ice. Not too bad, but again, not one of my top favorites to vote on. Venom, I don't know. I don't know what they're going for with this. Sort of like an insect injecting venom into their prey. My only association with Venom is Spider-Man, whose rivals Venom. It sounds very amateurish. It sounds like a lacrosse team, to be honest. Utah Venom, like, no, not really down with Venom there. Squall, the Utah Squall. Again, not doing it for me. A squall isn't an intimidating snowstorm. We have one right here in Blizzard. Blizzard is a much more dangerous, intimidating type of snowstorm. A squall, it's just a squall. It's like, what, 3 centimeters of snow or something? A snow squall. It's not, like I said, intimidating for the fifth time that I've used that word. Next, we'll go to Outlaws. It seems like everybody loves Outlaws, and I guarantee you this will be the name of the team because I don't like it. And that's just been my luck, I guess, with this franchise. The Outlaws, I don't really like it. It's obviously better than these, so I'll put it in the C tier. I don't know. I don't know what the association with Outlaws is. Outlaws reminds me of cowboys, gunslingers, sort of with that, that what do you call that? Starts with a B. Not a bandana. They put a bandana, covering their nose and mouth, sort of that, intimidating Western type style thing. I feel like that's more associated with Arizona than Utah, but, I don't know much of the history about Utah, but I don't know. Don't really like Utah Outlaws. I guess that rhymes. Utah Outlaws. Maybe that's why everyone loves it. Next, we'll go to Freeze, just like we did with Frost. Frost, Freeze. I mean, aren't these the same thing? Utah Freeze. Again, reminds me of like a slushie. Doesn't 7-Eleven have like slushies called Freeze? Or something, Frost or Freeze? I like Frost better than Freeze. So we'll go with C, the Utah Freeze. Utah Freeze. Utah Freeze. Next, we'll go to Hive, the Utah Hive. I'll go with B for this one. Better than Swarm. And again, with the B association with the state of Utah, you come into the Hive. That could be a good nickname for their arena. Utah Hive. It's a hive mind. They're all in it together. Sort of works. The Utah Hive, it's short. But again, really loving Mammoth, Mountaineers, and Yeti more than that. Fury. The Fury. Like when you say, the Coyotes, the Leafs, the Stars, the Wild, the Predators, the Fury. Like there's something there. And it reminds me of, one of my favorite video game franchises, Metal Gear Solid. They had a boss called the Fury, who was like an astronaut with a flamethrower. Such a great game. A great boss too. I love this guy. He had he kind of went crazy about space, and maybe he died going to the moon or something. Major Tom on the radio. Just love the boss, the Fury from the video game. For the hockey team, Utah Fury. Again, it has this amateurish type style to it, where like a lacrosse team would be called the Fury. It also borderlines. People might make fun of it with furries. The furries are coming into town if people don't like furries. But, the Fury is a great... I rather just call them the Fury as opposed to Utah Fury. I'm mixed on it. It could rise. I got to get used to it a bit more. Utah HC. I know everyone hates this. It's much better than the ones I have in D, but I'll put this in C. I hope they don't choose HC, because that's a very soccer thing, American football. Not that's a very soccer thing to call a team. They call them the Toronto FC, the football club, or not Real Madrid. Oh my, I'm losing my soccer names here. Who's called FC? I'm drawing a blank here. I just know the Toronto FC. There's more teams called FC in the UK. I'm just drawing a blank. But football club as it stands for in soccer. So I'll put that in C. I hope they don't choose Utah Hockey Club. Glaciers, just a terrible word to say. Like, I hate how it feels when I say it. It's too weird. It's like glaciers. There's too much movement. Doesn't really roll off the tongue really well. And if you say it all together, the Utah Glaciers, it's too much of a mouthful. And I get it. It has to do with like mountains and a huge glacier, like an iceberg. Not really down with that. Canyons as well. The Utah Canyons, just, it's not it. The Utah Canyons. Maybe the Utah Mountains would have been better than Canyons. Then we go to the last two. We got Blizzard and Ice. Blizzard, again, it's coming up every time I think about it. The Utah Blizzard. You can't see in a blizzard. You can't drive in a blizzard. If they continue the whiteout that started in Winnipeg and then went to Arizona, and then maybe it goes to Utah, maybe they do their own thing, but they choose to go with Blizzard and you have a whiteout, that makes too much sense to work. The Utah Blizzard, my association with Blizzard is video games, Pokemon. It's a move in Pokemon, introduced in the first generation. Diablo, Blizzard is one of the best skills to use for the sorceress class. And then Blizzard itself is a company in the video game industry. My brother was like, wouldn't it be funny if you could nickname them the Blizz? The Blizz are coming to town. Maybe they have Blizz, as a nickname, third alternate jersey, Blizz. Sort of has that double Z motif like the Jazz, the Utah Jazz. You have the Utah Blizz, the Utah Blizzard. It's an intimidating type of weather, sort of like the Avalanche. Is that weather related? Nature related. A big nature event like a hurricane, lightning, blizzard. So teams around the NHL have those type of nature dangerous storms. And the last one, the Utah Ice. Ice, baby. Going with A here. It's growing on me. Not a lot of people like ice. Reminds me, obviously, of the Winnipeg Ice, who, funnily enough, relocated to the Wenatchee Wild. And Utah's very own prospect, Connor Geekie, was part of that relocation. Maybe it's a Connor Geekie curse where whatever team he's on, the team gets relocated. But yeah, they used to be called the Winnipeg Ice. It folded. Now maybe the Utah Ice could take it up. It's short. It rolls off the tongue well. Utah Ice. I get it. Not a lot of people like it. It's like calling, an American football team called the Grass, the New York Grass, or New York Field, or New York Turf, or the Dallas Turf, or the Dallas Grass. I get it doesn't make sense. It could be a basketball team as well, being called the Court or the Hardwood, maybe the Floor even. But I don't know, with hockey, it sort of makes sense. I like it. And like I said, it rolls off the tongue really well. Utah Ice. So that's it for me. I really hope it's in my S tier. The Mountaineers, the Yeti. I'll be happy with Mammoth and Blizzard. Sort of happy with Ice. But yeah, if it's any of the other ones, especially Outlaws, oh man, that'll be rough. But knowing my luck, you're looking at the Utah Outlaws. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.